Hey guys, Quantum back here with part 2 of reviewing set 4 Ursula's Return. In this video, we're probably going to take a look at Emerald and Ruby. We'll see how far we can get throughout the rest of the cards, but I was just scrolling through and I saw there were some new cards from Amber and possibly Amethyst. So we've got a new Cinderella Legendary 5-cost 1/5, Singer 9. Whenever this character sings a song, your other princesses get +1 lore, and this also quests for 2. So 5-cost Singer 9 is very interesting. This card would seemingly almost single-handedly sing some of those big songs that we've seen already, the ones that cost like 8, 9, 10 that have the sing together ability. So definitely super interesting. Also being a 5-cost and Cinderella, she's shiftable on the big Cinderella from set 2. Not that you'd probably ever want to do that, but it is an option as she is pretty weak in case you need, some strength to take out some opposing characters. But interesting legendary card. I think this card will definitely be worth something for sure. So this might be one of the chase legendaries. The Amber legendaries always seem to be half decent. I guess the ones in set 3, like the Perdita is actually kind of solid. It's just that like Amber isn't really played outside of Amber Steel Song, and you don't play those legendaries, Kita or Perdita, in that. But if Ember ever does end up breaking away with its own identity, I think a lot of the legendaries might come really good. And so I would definitely be looking at picking up some Cinderella. Singers, as we've seen, are just very, very powerful cards. Overall, though, I do think the Ariel is probably still better. It is the 3/3 body, though, but both of these get outed by Medusa if that's still played. And, they both get outed by Zeus. This also gets outed by, Smash or Strength, Double Song, Let the Storm Rage On with Ursula, Deceiver of All. So, they're not invincible, and I think they're fairly balanced for what they are. But, Singers are just really, really strong in general. Scrolling through, we've already seen all of these, I believe. New Prince Eric. I don't think I saw that yet, but just a common. I'm not sure what Rampart is in French. Oh, it's just a bodyguard. So basically a Hercules, right? Getting some Prince Eric. Maybe we get a bit of shift target for him later. Did we get any new Amethyst cards? Oh, one of my friends pointed out that this Ursula is in like one of the starter sets or something, so it actually won't be that hard to get, which is really good because this card is going to be very, very good. I'm excited to see how this thing shapes up in the meta. I think it's going to be very good. I've talked many times about we need more things to exert characters in this game, and so while this is expensive, this is a card that can stop your opponent from winning the game. It sucks when you're kind of going back and forth and your opponent's just like, well, I have the tempo advantage because I went first and I just slapped down a ready character and you can't deal with it, so I just quest for game. Like, it's nice to have ways to actually come back from a situation like that. We got another, I don't think this was revealed before, another location, but just a 1-cost 6 at the start of your turn. If you have a character here, gain 1 lore. Interesting. Maybe in a location deck, but I guess that's it. Moving on to Emerald. Kree Key. Quest for 3, it's a 5-cost inkable 3/4 body. When you play this character, your other characters get +3 strength this turn. Wow. Seems pretty strong, but I've struggled to find where this would be applicable in an Emerald deck unless their Emerald gets a new identity in set 3. Emerald right now plays extremely low to the ground. That's basically the only version that you've seen be played. I mean, there is the Emerald Steel version that focuses on Floodborns. I think that version is actually pretty good. I think the person who won my local store set championship was playing the Bucky shift version of Emerald Steel Discard, which beats the low to the ground version. Regardless, though, unless Emerald gets a new identity, I don't think this card will see too much play, but it in theory looks pretty good. I don't think this will be worth anything, but it might be worth picking up copies if you can get them cheap, just because you never know if Emerald does break away and develop any kind of new identity. This card, the thing with Emerald, this card, same with Morph and a lot of these other random Bippity Boppity Boo and things like that. Emerald has these really banger cards that would seem to be really good if you applied them in another color. So maybe you get enough of these inkable, very useful cards in Emerald that it becomes a tech color for something like Emerald Ruby, Emerald Amethyst, stuff like that, and you just play a bunch of these power Emerald cards in these other ink combos that have a lot of staying power on their own. We know how good the steel cards are. You can almost build a mono steel deck. That's how good all of the cards are in that color. Same with Amethyst. You got Diablo, Shift, discard a card. So again, a free summon. This is a legendary, wow, for Emerald. and it's just an evasive quest for 1, a 3, uninkable 2/2. So I think there's a 1 Diablo from set 3, right? An Amethyst one. During each opponent's turn, whenever they draw a card, while this character is exerted, you may draw a card. I mean, in theory, it seems pretty strong, but like I don't think this sees play at all because this card just does nothing against steel, right? Like, if people still play Baboom, Stuff the Storm Rage on, Strength of a Raging Fire, Zeus, Grab Your Swords, any other steel cards that we're going to look at maybe in this set later on, like this card is just completely dead weight. In other matchups, it could be very good. You know, some things just, you know, like against Ruby Amethyst, well, I guess they have removal now, but like they have Teeth and Ambitions and probably some other stuff in this set. But yeah, a 2/2 body just seems too easy to out, even though it has evasive. You know, turn 1 Diablo, turn 2 shift this by discarding a card, quest for 1, it has evasive. You pass your opponent, it gives you a draw 1. In the late game, this does feel underwhelming. It doesn't do anything, right? Also, it does cost 3, so do you really want to shift? Like, it's good early game, maybe. I don't know. I'm struggling to find the application for this being a legendary. I think this might be a Milo of set 3 in set 4. I don't think this one's going to be worth anything. But let me know in the comment section below if you feel differently. Oh, Gus. No, they should have made Gus like an awesome card, man. Gus is so good in Cinderella. Like, literally one of the best characters in Cinderella. Anyways, Gunther, Sad-Eyed Puppy. What? I don't know what this is from. When this character is challenged and banished, each opponent loses or chooses one of their characters and returns it to their hand. Returns that card to their hand. 4 cost, inkable, 3/3. Quest for 2. Interesting. I don't think that card sees play. Oh, the other legendary, Hades, in another language here. Get down to business. Exert. Banish chosen character of yours. Play another character from your hand with the same. Wait. Can I banish 2 cost Ursula and play like one of those, like set 1 Ursula, then you set 4 Ursula, like banish Emerald Ursula, make them like play it on turn 2, make them discard a song, and then play Hades. I mean, it's turn 4, and then turn 5 you activate the ability. It has to survive a turn. It's a 3/3 body. Is it that good? I mean, if you get the combo up, but again, it's like a combo, right? Air quotes. You have to have a small Ursula, the Hades, and a big Ursula. So in Emerald Amethyst, if you play Ursula Power Hungry, and I don't even know what the subtitle is for the other Ursula. Do you play 4 and 4? I mean, this one is inkable, so this one is called Sea Witch Queen, okay. Do you really play, you probably don't play 4 Ursula Power Hungry because it's uninkable. But imagine turn 2 playing Ursula Deceiver, discarding a card from your opponent, turn 4 playing the Hades, turn 5 exerting it, banishing your 2 cost Ursula, bringing out a Power Hungry Ursula, drain a lore, draw a card, or bringing this out. I mean, on play this doesn't do anything, right? It stops singing songs on the other side. I mean, there's a lot of application for this card. I think this card will be overhyped actually, because it is slow still, right? Like, you have to play it on turn 4, it has to survive a turn, and then you have to exert it, and then it likely just dies, right? So you get a one-time banish, and in order to use it, you need all the specific cards. So I mean, if you have a deck that's full of like Mickey Mouses or full of Ursulas, like, it makes this card a little bit more consistent. Is it worth playing at that point though? It's an interesting card. I think it'll be overhyped at the beginning, kind of like Jafar was. To be honest, I think Jafar is really undervalued. I think that card is low-key amazing still. We've seen it do work in Amethyst Steel. I think it's still still a very good card. And I would pick up my playset of that Jafar Striking Illusionist if you haven't already, while it's literally at the lowest point it's been. This card is very interesting though. I guess we'll find out more when we start testing. But yeah, I mean, obviously you'll have to play this in a very, one character focused deck, like a lot of Ursulas in your deck. That's the one that comes to mind immediately. Like, I'm sure like Hercules, some other stuff. Yeah, interesting. We've got an uncommon hey, let's fatten you up. Oh my gosh, that's cruel. Anyways, when you play this character, if an opponent has more cards in their inkwell than you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exert it. What? Emerald getting ramp? What is this? Quest for 2, a 3 cost inkable 2/3. So if you've been paying attention to literally what I just said about Emerald, they're playing very low to the ground right now, and because of that kind of strategy, they usually cap out at very low ink. So this card can help them accelerate ink, and keeping an Emerald fashion, it quests for 2. It is inkable, which is nice. You play this, gets you the extra ink potentially if you've missed an ink drop, or you can afford to skip an ink maybe to play this. So keep more cards in your hand. Is it good enough to replace other Emerald cards in any Emerald decks? Potentially. I mean, people it's hard to say because people play the Mickey, right? But they play the Mickey specifically for a reason. This card is situational for the ramp, and your core strategy with Emerald isn't ramping. Hard to say if this will see play, but it's only an uncommon, so I mean, you guys will probably have play sets of this if it does end up being meta relevant. Hera, Queen of the Gods, interesting. 1/3 for 3 inkable, quest for 2, ward. Your character's name Zeus gain ward. You're a true hero. Your character's name Hercules gain evasive. Okay, so if you're making like a hero, I don't know, an Olympus base deck, Hera, Zeus, and Hercules, probably not going to be a thing, but probably not that good. Jack, when you play this character, chosen opposing character gains a reckless during their next turn. I think this ability is really underrated. I think you will see cards like this like the Tiberius is uninkable, so maybe this one is better because it's inkable. It also quests for 2, comes down on turn 3. The reason why this is good is because of the mirror match. Being able to give opposing 2-drop Flynn Riders and Curse Merfolks reckless, so they have to challenge and crash, so they don't quest and you don't have to discard, is very, very strong. Also, throw this down on a Mini Surfer if that's still being played, or any other like evasive threat. I think this card, I'll be picking up 4 foil copies of this one. I think this card is pretty good. Yep. Don't know what this is. A new Jasmine, that's pretty cool. Uninkable 5 cost. Smart maneuver: when you play this character and each time she is challenged, each opponent chooses and discards a card. Okay, so like a budget Bell, but when you play this character, your opponent discards. So budget Lucifer in that case. 1 more strength and toughness. Doesn't discard 2 potentially. Not like when I say budget Bell, I mean, it's a 5 cost just like Bell. It does not have shift, and Bell obviously makes you discard on challenge. So this card's kind of like a hybrid between Bell and Lucifer. Does this see play in discard decks? I think it power creeps out Daisy, but it's uninkable. That really hurts. At a 5 cost too, and like I just said, Emerald likes to play low to the ground, so getting up to this, it hurts, man. I think I'd rather just play Lucifer still, to be honest. Like the strength and toughness doesn't matter. You care about the discard, right? The issue is with the discard, it's like if your opponent plays to have no cards in hand, then as soon as you start top decking these cards, they're useless, right? Like the Jasmine doesn't do anything, Lucifer doesn't do anything. That's why you don't really see that stuff being played in the meta heavy decks. You might see like a one-off copy, but that's about it. Megara, when you play this character, choose and discard a card or banish this character. Okay. A 3 cost uninkable 3/6 quest for 2. I mean, good questing pressure. If you can't discard, you banish it though. So probably doesn't see play. Liberated 1 ward 5 cost 4/4. This stat line is decent. Quest for 2. Whenever you play a character named Hercules, you may ready this character. It doesn't say that she can't quest, so interesting. Pegasus. Oh yeah, we got this new goodbye Pascal kind of thing, right? Just straight up, hey, I just got evasive as a one drop. Kind of cool. We got a shift 1 here on common. It has evasive 5, shift 3, 3/3 body, quest for 2. Hop on when you play this character. If you use shift to play him, your characters gain evasive until the start of your next turn. Very interesting. Very interesting. So basically, you can play this quest with everything and likely keep them all safe because they'll have evasive until the start of your next turn, so your opponent can't challenge. That's an interesting card. I think this could be pretty good. I mean, you have to... okay, it's not like amazing because you have to use the shift to get your characters evasive. So again, it's one of those situational things. You have to have a board developed that doesn't get wiped, and you have to have a small Pegasus on board. So obviously, this goes with this. Again, more aggro strategies, right? Because this card is dead without the shift. Like, you would not really want to play this without shifting it, I don't think. Otherwise, it's just like you're paying 5 for a quest for 2 evasive, which I guess isn't the worst, right? What we paid 5 for Goofy. It's a 3/4. That quest for 2, so maybe it's not the worst. Maybe it is pretty good. Interesting card though. Might be worth picking up 4 foil copies. Again, I'm talking about this when like when everything comes out. We have shops here in Canada that will just like bulk list all commons and uncommons for like 75 cents, and I just buy up a bunch of foils at that price before things start to spike. Like I got like Madam Mim snakes at like 75 cents before they spiked up to like $5 or whatever they're worth now. Just get a bunch of good uncommons and commons before, if you know what's gonna spike. If you like foils like me. So Pete. Okay, so it's more high questers. We got a couple of Prince Philips. This one's in French. I'm assuming French. It's bad that I'm in Canada and I can't even recognize. Yeah, it's in French. Okay. Shift 6. You may pay 6 to play this on top of one of your characters. A 9 cost inkable. Wow. 6/6 body though. Pretty interesting. Quest for 3. And it has evasive. Okay. The ability Strike to the Heart. When you play this character, banish all opposing characters with at least 1 damage. Wow. Okay. When you play this character. So Shift 6, in the Emerald Steel deck that plays the Morph, right, for the Shift packages, does this card start to see play? I think like immediately what comes to mind is this card power creeps out Cheshire Cat, which has to exert to banish damage characters. This quest for 3, it has evasive already. I mean, it's another super rare. I think this card might be half decent in that if Emerald Steel Shift prevails as a deck. You've also got this Prince Philip. It's a rare 3/4, 4 cost uninkable. Your other hero characters gain ward, 2 quest. So kind of like an Aurora. Don't see this being very good. Oh, the Muse is nice. Ward. It's a 2/4 inkable 4 cost. Whenever you play a song, you may return chosen character with 2 strength or less to their player's hand. So Kit Cloud Kicker for songs. I mean, in the mirror match with Emerald Steel, this thing just wins you the game. Constantly bounce Ursula, Deceiver of All. Right? Whoever's on the play gets this down first. If this is even played in that deck, which I don't think it will be, but I mean, it's inkable, so I mean, you could play it, right? If it's not good in the matchup, you just ink it. It has ward, so it just sits there, and it constantly is a bounce whenever you play songs, right? Pairing it with steel. I think this card is actually decent. I'd probably pick up a playset, experiment with it a little bit. The sad thing about this, right? Again, you can just ink it if it's not good, but if Sapphire Ruby continues to be a deck, like all their stuff is huge, and what are you going to do? Bounce a Hiram, so that they just recast it and draw anyways off an item, right? So Under the Cease, another Sync Together card, 8 cost. Put all opposing characters with 2 strength or less on the bottom of their player's deck. So this includes your character. Oh no, all opposing characters, sorry. So yeah, it's phrased this way for multiplayer, I guess. 8 cost? I don't really see this being relevant. Like, I could be wrong. Let me know in the comment section if you made it this far. What do you think of this? I don't think this is very good. So in the mirror match, like mirror match as in other Emerald decks, right? If they're playing, or other aggro decks, they're playing low to the ground. You're playing low to the ground with Emerald as well. You're hoping to flood the board. Do you have a total of 8 costed characters on board in order to sing this? And how useful would it be? Considering what you pair Emerald with, I'd rather just play like a Grab Your Swords. I think. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be very good though. We don't talk about Bruno. A character with 5 or more can sing this for free. Robin Hood song, that is inkable. That's immediately what comes to mind. Return chosen characters to their player's hand, and then that player discards. So a Mother Knows Best, that is inkable, and makes them discard. I will be picking up 4 of these for sure. Yeah, I think this is decent. This 5 cost curve for the songs is very important. Anything that costs 5 or less for a song that's inkable, I think, is always worth looking at. Like this ability, obviously. Like think about this, right? Like you're in an Emerald Steel discard deck. They have nothing in hand because you made them discard their hand, or they've played out their hand so that they don't have to discard and you don't draw off the Prince John. And then, you know, your Mother Knows Best But this does the discard and the Mother Knows Best in one, right? So it bounces their character back to hand, makes them discard it. And if you have Prince John, you draw one off of it as well. This card, I think, will be actually pretty insane. Sing it with Beast Tragic Hero, sing it with Robin Hood. Man, I regret not playing Robin Hood in my Emerald Steel deck. Oh my god, if only I had more time to test. Anyways, Hidden Inkcaster. When you play this item, draw a card. Oh, Popsicle effect. 2 cost uninkable though, but I mean you never really ink popsicles unless you absolutely have to anyways. All cards in your hand count as having what? What is that? I don't even know what that symbol is. All cards in your hand count as having something. Strength? What is that? And that's not strength. That's strength. What is this symbol? That's having, they don't even know, question mark. Am I missing something? That's not lore. That's not strength. That's not, I don't know what that is. Let me know in the comment section below if you know what that is. I mean, I guess, yeah, depending on what this is, you know, this replaces itself. It's an item. Cost 2. It's uninkable. Might be decent. Signed contract. 2 cost inkable item. I saw this card already. This card looks really interesting. Whenever an opponent plays a song, you may draw a card. I think this card is really interesting. I mean, it's inkable in the matches where you're not going to run into songs. And then if you do run into a deck that plays songs, like GG. Not going to say GG, but like draw cards whenever you sing songs. Putting Amber Steel Song in check a little bit. Really need to see those Benjas to out this. Benja, I mean, I told you guys this right in previous videos. I'm like, Benja just seems like an amazing card. It's just going to get better and better over time. Like, if you don't have your Benjas yet, like, get 4 foil ones, man. That card's going to be insane. The one from set 2, right? The steel one. You got another item here. 3 cost inkable Vision Slab. At the start of your turn, if an opposing character has damage, gain 1 lore. Interesting. Damage counters can't be removed. So I guess what is the Amethyst that does a lot of that removal damage counter stuff? Probably doesn't see play in Constructed. This is a location. I can't even read that. Abandon Hope while... Okay, Abandon Hope. While you have an exerted character here, opposing characters get -1 lore. Oh, interesting. 7 strength. I mean... Ursula's Garden, Fall of the Unfortunate. So this is an interesting card. It's a 4 cost inkable. I don't think this card sees play, but like it is a very interesting concept. Again, we need sideboards, and it's like a lot of these cards are sideboardable because when you think about decks like Ruby Amethyst, if that continues to be a powerhouse in the format, like how did, like a lot of the time, because they play so heavily on curve, like when they drop that 1-drop Minnie Mouse, let's assume they still play that, and they drop that Maleficent Sorceress, again, assuming they play all these things, the Merlins, the Mims, they all quest for 1. So this single-handedly, having a character here, will like stop them. It'll force them to challenge instead of quest, right? Because they'll quest for 0. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it's not that great. Oh no, I can't go back. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't like this card won't be worth anything anyways. You can probably pick it up for cheap if you do want them, but sideboardable at best, I think, still. Benja, 4 cost 5/3, okay. Oh man, here we go. What is this? 0/4. This character cannot why would you challenge with it? It's a 0/4. They have to actually put that on there. It would have been nice if it said like this character could not be challenged since he has 0. Anyways, Householder. Exert, ready a character of your choice called, okay, so useless. I mean, it's a common. Why am I even looking at it? It's useless. I mean, to be fair, there have been some decent commons. Okay, Hercules. Okay, so this is Rafiki for Ruby. 3 cost, uninkable, 3/3 body. I think that's what Rafiki's stats are. And then Rush. You got a new Goofy. Rush, 2/4, 4 inkable. Whenever this character challenges another character, you gain 2 lore. Very interesting. Wow. Goofy, man. The kind of... Because I'm thinking like this with Crab, right? Like Crab makes it a 5/4. You don't have to banish the other character. You just have to challenge it. So you drop this on turn 4. You challenge this card. Wow, this card will... Yeah, this card seems good. Especially in Ruby Amethyst where you'll play like Crab still probably. Gain 2 lore off challenging. So when you take a look, like so the concept behind this, or like, sorry, my approach to thinking about this is like, look how good Robin Hood is. This card helps you keep pace with aggro, right? It's a 2/4 body, so it'll survive a few challenges and gain you lore in the process. So it's kind of like a Robin Hood for Ruby in the sense that it keeps pace with aggro. It doesn't sing 5-cost songs, it's not shiftable, and it's not a 3/6 body, it's a 2/4. So it's worse in almost every regard, but it does have rush. But I mean, technically the Robin Hood has rush if you shift it, right? Technically, you know? But it has the ability that it doesn't need to banish, it just needs to challenge and you gain 2 lore. I mean, it quests for 1, Robin Hood quests for 2. So like the comparables are there. I think this card is a really nice card for Ruby. Okay. This is what we need. We need answers in Ruby for aggro decks. Hercules uncommon. Wait, what? Rush Reckless? Maui? 5 cost on inkable, so Maui is inkable for 5. 7 strength. Wow. 3, so it dies pretty much. Maui is better, guys, just FYI. If this was 8, so it can run over Tamatoa, it might be a different story. But uninkable, it's probably going to die on its first challenge. It's a budget Maui, I guess. Considering Maui was, I mean, it was up to like $20. I think there was like a set 1 reprint, so Maui's maybe came down. A good card still. I mean, especially for a budget deck. Interesting. 2 cost 3/2. We've got a lot of these stat line characters. Ooh, a new Lumiere. I love this guy from Beauty and the Beast. You got Li Shang uncommon, shift, discard a card. I mean, for a 3/2 body, 3 inkable, you're going to shift this to your characters with 4 strength or more. Wow, okay, that's an interesting ability. Again, kind of a gimmick, so you're not really going to see this played in meta decks, but interesting. I mean, weight set decks come to mind, but considering that Ruby Steel isn't really a thing, it's hard to say. You got Lumiere, Fiery Friend. Your other characters get +1 strength. So this is what, the Duke from Rise of the Floodborn? Your Prince and Princess and stuff get +1 strength. This just gives everything +1 strength. It's a 2 cost, inkable 2/2 body. That's interesting. It's a rare. I think this is worth picking up a playset of, maybe. You could run a low, like a low to the ground version of Ruby Amethyst. It is pretty much the way the deck is run, right? Basically, so getting +1 strength on things is relevant. Like immediately, what comes to mind is Lumiere, Goofy. This becomes a 3/4. Makes this thing able to take out things with 3 toughness, which, as we've seen, at least in the previous meta or the meta we're in right now, prior to this set coming out, is a thing. The 3 toughness is a big thing to get over. Like, for example, this runs over Ursula, Deceiver of All. Right, and it survives, and you'll gain 2 lore in the process. Very nice. I think this card is decent. Yep. You got a Mulan here. Enemy of Entanglement. Okay. Whenever you play an action... What? She fights a shadow? I don't remember that. Anyways, whenever you play an action, this character is... Okay, so that's kind of... Forget that. A new Namari, that's rare. Heir of Fang. I didn't watch this movie. What is it? Raya? I think. Anyways, during your turn, whenever this character deals damage to another character in a challenge, you may deal the same amount of damage to another chosen character. So kind of like Hydra, but it's very weak. It's uninkable. I don't think that's worth anything. You got another Pegasus, 2 cost inkable 3/1. I'm assuming this is just rush. Oh, evasive. Okay. So yeah, not good then. Never mind. My French is terrible. Another language here. What is it? Spanish? Anyways, we must join forces. When you play this character, ready chosen character at a location. Okay, so not relevant really. 4 cost inkable 3/3 stat line, quest for 2. Oh, you got the legendaries. They put Sisu. Sisu was in Sapphire before, right, as a legendary. Okay, so the rare Sisu, 3 cost inkable 1/4. Very nice artwork though. Really awesome character design in my opinion. Never watched this movie either. I don't know, or is this from Raya? I don't even know. Anyways, that's probably why I didn't see it, because I didn't see this one either. Anyways, this character gets +1 strength for each card in opponent's hand. +1 strength. Sorry. Quest for 2. That's an interesting card. So whenever I look at ruby cards, I immediately think like ruby amethyst. I guess you can start thinking like ruby amber as well. Ruby emerald isn't really a thing. Does this get played in ruby sapphire? Probably not. You care more about ramping. So really the only applicable color combination right now that I can think of is like ruby amethyst. Do you play this in ruby amethyst at 3? I don't think it does enough to replace the Minnie Mouse. Yeah. But who knows? We'll see. Let's see what this shift one is. Maybe this makes the other one playable. Shift 6. That's pretty expensive. Uninkable. 5/4 body. Let me quest for 3. But let me handle this. When you play this character, banish all opposing characters with 2 strength or less. Legendary. Coming down on turn 6, how relevant is that going to be? I can't see that being very relevant. I could be wrong. I mean, it's a decent ability, but like, you have to shift 6 for it to even matter, probably. It's uninkable. If it was inkable, maybe. But even then, like, I don't know. Like, I'd rather just play Scar for 7 uninkable, even though I can't shift it. Because you're thinking about different cards to replace Be Prepared if you don't want to run like the full 4 Be Prepared because you don't want to get ripped by Bare Necessities and Ursula Deceiver. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I wish it was cheaper. It should have cost 6 and shift 4. Then that would have been nice. That would have been real nice. Maybe be a 3/4 body instead. Or no, maybe be a 4/4 body. To play around opposing Medusas. Anyways. 3, Tuk Tuk, Evasive. 3, cost inkable, 2/3. On a roll. When you play this character, you may move him and one of your other characters to the same location for free. The other character gets +2 strength this turn. Holy. What? So on turn 2, you know, Cusco, Wanted Llama, or whatever that one's called. Like it's a 1/2 body. When it's banished, you draw a card. Madam Mim Snake, Rafiki, the 1-drop that has Challenger 3, Minnie Mouse. They all become stronger bodies, at least 3 strength, right? Rafiki becomes 5 strength. How does this work though? If I don't have a location in play, do I have to move them to the location? It doesn't say like if you move them to the location, then the character gets +2. When you play this character, you may move him and one of your other characters to the same location for free. So does this condition have to be fulfilled for the other character to get +2? If I don't move a character and I just play this, does the other character get +2? That's the real question. Because on curve, on turn 3, you're not going to have a location in play. But just having another version of Crab that has evasive and has the potential in the late game to do even more with the location. Like, imagine drawing this late game when you have a Queen's Castle up and you're just like, drop this, move 2 characters to Queen's Castle for free, give my other thing +2, take out one of your threats. You know, I'm drawing extra cards with the Queen's Castle. This card could be really good if this second ability doesn't require the first ability to be fulfilled. So let me know in the comment section below if you made it this far, what you think. If this has been already ruled, or I'm assuming somebody asked this question already. But if that is the case, this card is really good. If it's not the case, the card is decent. Yeah, 2/3 body for 3 with evasive. It's inkable. Okay. This card could be really good though, for sure. Oh, the Sing Together for Ruby. Each opponent loses 2 lore, you gain 2 lore. Action Song. It's an inkable 6-cost song. You know, I'm probably going to get roasted for this, but I think that's actually decent. Just because it's inkable. Like, I ink it. Imagine drawing this in the late game. This thing, like, okay, I know I haven't been testing as much. I've been very busy. But like when I was testing a decent amount with Ruby Amethyst in set 1, set 2, like if you guys watch those videos or play it yourself, you know how impactful that Ursula Power Hungry was, draining the 1 lore, right? While this isn't a body, I know Ursula's Power Hungry, Quest for 3. Being able to make your opponent lose 2 lore and just put them that much more behind on the clock, and you gain 2 lore. Like, you've seen a lot of game states and a lot of games if you watch competitive meta matches where it literally comes down to I win this turn, I win next turn if you don't win when I pass the turn to you. Like, I have a board state where I'm going to win next turn, right? And your opponent, you pass to your opponent, and they're like, well, I have game anyways because, you know, I was on the play. This is a card that can swing that math in your favor, right? Turn 6, you cause them to lose 2 lore. The way that their board is set up, or the way that they've been playing out their board, is just like thrown out the window because they can't quest for game now, or they can't go for game. And you gain the 2 lore, so now instead of them trying to quest for game, they're like, oh shoot, I had to deal with your board. Now you're going to quest for game next turn, and maybe I didn't set my board up to deal with your board. I wasn't expecting to lose 2 lore. Like, I think this card has a lot of potential. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, this card is not good. I mean, it is a song, so, you know, it's susceptible to the bare necessities, to the Ursula Deceiver. But, you know, playing 1 or 2 copies of this as a tech option, again, it's not a control card. So I'm not really a huge fan of a card that just like does something but doesn't generate you an advantage. But like, lore, is lore good enough to say that it warrants playing this card? So what I mean by that, I know I kind of talk through my thought process here without really fully explaining it to you guys, but like playing a goat, it's like, that's a body, right? I get the lore, and goat is a body. So I can bounce it, gain extra lore, recast it, gain more lore. I can challenge with it. I can quest with it. Like, it has a lot of versatility. A song is like, I play it. I don't remove a threat. I don't develop a threat. I just get like a one-time benefit, right? Like a thing like Popsicle, you play it, it replaces itself. And also it's the ideal hero and banish to draw 2. This thing, it's just like lose 2 lore, gain 2 lore. Could be super impactful in the mid to late game. Inkable if you draw it in the early game. Has a lot of potential, like I said, like in those scenarios where the game is very calculated. A really nice way to throw off, be like a surprise and throw off an opponent. But how impactful is it really going to be? Are you going to really have this when you absolutely need it every time? In Ruby Amethyst, maybe you draw enough cards that you can just kind of like hold this back and cast it when you need it. I don't know. This is a really interesting card for sure. The fact that it's inkable makes it super playable, though, in my opinion. If it was uninkable, it would be garbage, in my opinion, because it'd just be stuck in your hand with like no actual advantage gaining effect. But the advantage that you gain is playing this strategically. The question is like, does it warrant enough to play strategically? Like, lore is the ultimate resource in the game, right? Like, you have to gain lore, you have to stop your opponent from gaining lore. This does that, so it progresses something in the game state. But again, if you're in a losing position anyways, this card doesn't do anything for you, right? Like, if your opponent's at like 16 and you're at like 2, right, and you're just trying to constantly deal with their board, and then you're like, I finally stabilized, like, and you draw this, and you're like, oh shoot, I wish this was a character that I could actually utilize to like remove an opponent's threat. I mean, yes, it slows them down a little bit, but it keeps their board developed, right? So I mean, it has its deficiencies, but it also has some clutch factor to it as well. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. I've spent a lot of time on this card. 4 cost uninkable. Be King Undisputed, the best song in all of Disney probably. Love Be Prepared. Actually, I don't even know I don't know if the song is actually called Be Prepared to be, but I know the song off by heart pretty much. Anyways, each opponent chooses and banishes one of their characters. 4 cost uninkable action song. Isn't there like a Sapphire card that does something similar? Each opponent puts a card into their inkwell, like a character into their inkwell. So it's song version of Tremaine. 4 cost uninkable, right? I don't know. I think that, I mean, Tremaine is super relevant because it's a 2 questing body. I don't think this is very good. There's just other songs I'd want to sing in Ruby Amethyst. I'd rather sing Friends on the Other Side with like a Merlin Rabbit or a Goat on turn 5 rather than sing this probably. And I'd rather just drop a Tremaine than play this. 3 cost inkable Brawl, common. Banish chosen character with 2 or less. Strength. Action, not a song. Safe from Ursula Deceiver. Takes out Ursula Deceiver of all. I will be picking up 4 foil copies of this. My friend showed this to me actually earlier on. The card that Ruby needed. I wish it cost 2 though. but it's fine. Costing 3. Basically, you play this to out Ursula Deceiver of All. Yeah, interesting card. I mean, inkable at worst, right? But I think that'll become this will probably become a staple. Man, real estate's getting tough in that Ruby Amethyst deck. Anyways, moving on. I got to wrap this up. I'm sure this video is pretty long. Imperial Proclamation item, rare, 1 cost, inkable. Call to the front. Whenever one of your characters challenges another character, you may pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn. I don't think that does enough. Still no item removal in Ruby or Amethyst, by the way. Are you serious, Ravensburger? I guess they really don't like Ruby Amethyst decks. Alright, anyways. Medallion weights. Exert and pay 2. It also costs 2 to cast. Inkable. The exert and pay 2 to use the ability immediately just makes me think it's not good. Chosen character gets +2 strength this turn. Whenever they challenge another character this turn, you may draw a card. Yeah, I mean, items are just too susceptible to removal, right? Like, you lose so much tempo playing this, and then a situational effect. Like, it's a good effect, but, like, am I going to really be able to play a character and then pay 2, right, to develop that, to keep developing my board? Probably not. Vitalisphere. 1 cost inkable item, common. Pay 1, banish the item. Chosen character gets Rush and +2 this turn. Man, I'm thinking for a long time on this one. I think I still rather play Crab. Like, giving Rush is nice. Having this sit on the board. I don't know. Yeah, having this sit on the board, threatening. Well, first of all, this in Ruby Sapphire might be pretty damn good. Maybe. Because it's another 1 cost item for hero at worst. Or it's a card that helps you deal with aggro, which we know is a problem for Ruby Sapphire. So I think in that regard, because I'm thinking about it from the Ruby Amethyst perspective, but for the Ruby Sapphire perspective, I think this is an interesting card. That deck is just so tightly packed right now. It's hard to see where you find the space to fit in this item, but I think it has some merit there. Dealing with aggro decks with Ruby, though, would you rather play this? It gives your 1-drops +2. Gives your 2-drops Rush and +2. Play this on turn 1. Turn 2, play a Cusco. Turn 3, banish it. Give Cusco +2. I don't know. An interesting card. It's only a common. I think this will be half decent. It's an option to consider. And then we got a rare location. 9 toughness. 2 cost inkable. 2 to move, though. Snuggly Duckling. I have no idea what that's from. Whenever a character with 3 strength or more challenges another character while here, gain 1 lore. The challenging character, if the challenging character has 6 or more strength, gain 3 lore instead. What I tell you guys about Jim Hawkins when it was coming out, I was like, okay, the card looks pretty good. We saw it phase out of the format. It was played a lot in the beginning. But I said, you know, when this card gets cheap, pick him up because it only gets better over time, right? So it only costs 2 to play this. It has 9 toughness. It doesn't gain any passive lore. I haven't seen many locations have the passive lore thing. I think Ravensburger realized how powerful that mechanic is, and they just opted to make locations now without passive lore. Like the Queen's Castle is absolutely busted, but anyways, this is an interesting card. So immediately what comes to mind obviously is like Maui, right? Bro, so you drop this, you drop a Maui, and Maui lives usually, and then you drop the Tuk Tuk. you move Tuk Tuk and Maui to the location. Or you move Tuk Tuk and something else that when it gets the +2 strength is up to 6 strength. And then that challenges, gets you 3 lore out to threat. Like putting Maui on here. Man, Peter Pan Shadow looking really nice right now. Give Maui evasive, move him here, have him challenge stuff, have him live because your opponent can't challenge it. Gain 3 lore constantly while it's protected with Peter Pan Shadow, having evasive. I mean, it's a very like convoluted combo, so don't like that's not probably too realistic. But obviously the thing that comes to mind here is Maui. The new Hercules as well, right? This one. But I mean, you don't even like, because the odds that you play something, you have to pay 2 to move it there as well. So like turn 8, right? This has to drop, survive, turn 8, or sorry, turn 7. You drop Maui, you drop a Hercules, one of the two. You pay 2 to move in there. That's 7 ink. So turn 7. Then you quest or challenge, gain 3 lore. This is an interesting card. Anyways, I'm going to save the Sapphire and Steel review for the next video. If you're interested in this and you made it this far, thank you again for watching. I've got to wrap it up though. Thank you again. Quantum is out.